Hello friends, Steve Stockton here with you. Welcome to our latest video. In this episode, we're going to be talking about missing persons in the state of Maine. Join me, let's walk and see. Now, Maine, with its rugged coastline, dense forest, and picturesque towns, evokes a sense of tranquility and mystery. But beneath this idyllic facade lies a darker reality. A number of people had vanished without a trace within the state's borders. Their disappearances have left behind a trail of unanswered questions, shattered families, and a lingering sense of unease. In this video, we delve into some of Maine's most baffling missing person cases, exploring the circumstances surrounding their disappearances and the ongoing efforts to find them. Since 1964, the Maine State Police have kept a record of 35 individuals who have vanished without a trace. Every name on this list represents someone whose sudden disappearance has left a void in the hearts of their loved ones and the communities they were a part of. These cases remain open and unsolved, but the families and friends of the missing still hold hope for answers. From young children to adults, each person in this video has their own unique story, and the circumstances surrounding their disappearances vary greatly. While some cases have faded from public memory over the years, others still receive periodic attention. But no matter how much time has passed, the Maine State Police remain dedicated to finding closure for these families and bringing resolution to these heartbreaking mysteries. A top priority of the Maine State Police is locating these missing individuals and providing their loved ones with closure. If you have any information, no matter how small or insignificant it may seem on these cases, please contact the police immediately. This list is arranged alphabetically, and all information is courtesy of the Maine State Police. Jeremy Alex, missing since 2004. Jeremy Alex went missing on April 30, 2004, and was last seen running along a rural road in Newport, Maine. He was delusional at the time and has not been seen or heard from since. A reward is being offered for information on his whereabouts. The Maine State Police are actively searching for him and ask for the public's help. Anyone with any information should contact them immediately at the Major Crimes Unit in Augusta, Maine. Telephone number 207-624-7143. Next, we have Colin J. Arey, missing since 2017. Colin was last seen in January 2017 when he was driven to the Brewer Auditorium by his stepfather. He was starting a new job in Bangor, but has not contacted his family or friends since. His social media and phone are inactive. Colin does not have a driver's license and has a birthmark over his eye described as a strawberry. If you have any information on Colin, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit in Bangor at 207-973-3750. Next, Ludger Belanger, missing since 1975. At 9 a.m. on November 25, 1975, Ludger Belanger was driven to Route 105 in Washington by his brother and wife for a hunting trip. He had a hunting rifle, caliber .30-30, with him. Before he left, he told his wife that he would return home in about an hour. However, he never came back. After investigating the situation, it was determined that Ludger had successfully shot a deer and dragged it to the road before being picked up by someone driving a motor vehicle. If you have any information about Ludger, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit in Augusta at 207-624-7143. Next, Joseph Bichrest, missing since 1976. Joseph Bichrest, once a resident of Pennsylvania, made his home in Greenville, Maine, as an attorney. However, in 1976, he vanished without a trace along with his trusty Jeep. Following his disappearance, authorities discovered that a credit card registered under his name was used in Philadelphia just 2 days later. Despite extensive efforts to locate him and his vehicle, no sign of either has ever been found. Speculation about his fate continues to circulate, with some claiming he may have been murdered. According to unverified reports, his Jeep may be hidden in one of the local quarries in Greenville, leading to multiple searches over the years. If you have any information on Joseph, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit in Bangor at 207-973-3750. Next, we have George Boardman, missing since 2000. On November 6, 2000, Boardman's abandoned vehicle, a brown 1990 Honda Accord with Maine registration plate 3403JF, was found behind the Searsmont Municipal Parking Lot in Searsmont, Maine. Boardman resided at 392 Whitney Street in Bingham, Maine, and had been reported missing by his roommates on October 5, 2000. Despite multiple leads and interviews over the years, Boardman has never been located, and the case remains unsolved. If you have any information, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit in Augusta at 207-624-7143. Next up, Russell Burnett, missing since 2017. On February 23, 2017, the Hancock County Sheriff's Department received a report of a missing person, Russell Burnett, aged 47. According to witnesses, he was last seen 2 days prior in the area near his home at 323 Eastbrook Road in Franklin, Maine. He was on foot and had his dog with him. An extensive search has been conducted on the property and residence, but no results. If anyone has any information about Burnett's possible location, please contact the Maine State Police immediately, Major Crimes Unit South in Gray, Maine, at 207-624-7076. Next, we have Guy Carmel, missing since 2017. In March of 2017, Guy Carmel, age 66, resided at 75 Towers Road in Greenbush, Maine, before he vanished. 6 months later, the Penobscot County Sheriff's Office received a missing persons report for him. Mr. Carmel has gray hair, brown eyes, and wears glasses. He stands about 5 foot 9 inches tall and weighs around 180 pounds. The circumstances surrounding his disappearance are deemed suspicious. If you have any information on the whereabouts of Guy Carmel, please reach out to the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit North in Bangor, Maine, 207-973-3750. Now we have Douglas Chapman, missing since 1971. At around 10:30 a.m. on June 2, 1971, the mother of 3-year-old Douglas Chapman called and reported missing. She said that she last saw him playing near a sand pile about 25 yards away from their home while she was talking on the phone and his father was at work. If you have any information about little Douglas, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit South in Gray, Maine, 207-657-3030. Next, Roger Day, missing since 1973. On October 4, 1973, Roger Day, who was born November 4, 1958, was reported missing by his father. According to witnesses, he was last seen on October 3, 1973, in Porter, Maine, headed to the Freiburg Fair for the day. If you have any information regarding Roger's whereabouts, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit South in Gray, Maine, at 207-657-3030. Next, Robert Desmond, missing since 1964. 11-year-old Robert Desmond disappeared from his family home in Kennebunk in August of 1964. His parents did not file a missing person report, and despite efforts to investigate, he has never been found. If you have any information concerning Robert or his disappearance, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit South in Gray, Maine, at 207-624-7076. Next, Diana Estey, missing since 2016. Diana Estey, age 71, went missing from her residence located at 1105 Medford Center Road in Medford, Maine, on or about November 1, 2016. An exhaustive search of the residence and surrounding property was conducted. However, nothing resulted. Anyone with any information regarding Diana Estey's possible whereabouts is encouraged to please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit South at 207-624-7076. Next, William Garlick, missing since 1982. According to the Maine State Police, on September 13, 1982, William Garlick and John Joyce left Worcester, Massachusetts, with plans to collect a $22,000 debt in Alton, Maine. The pair were in a black 1980 Corvette with Massachusetts plates 512 EVZ. The following day, the car was discovered in the Bangor Mall parking lot, but it had been tampered with. The ignition and interior were damaged, and a wallet belonging to William Garlick was found on the seat. As of now, neither John Joyce nor William Garlick have been seen after their departure from Worcester. If you have any information regarding this pair, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit North in Bangor at 207-973-3750. Next, Jesse O. Hoover, missing since 1983. On June 11, 1983, Jesse Hoover's sister reported her missing. Hoover had traveled from Texas to Maine to hike the Appalachian Trail. She'd been last seen on May 20, 1983, at the Baxter State Park headquarters. Hoover was an epileptic and did not have any specialized equipment or knowledge for hiking. At the time she went missing, Hoover was 54 years old, stood 5 feet 10 inches tall, and weighed 240 pounds. She was dressed in blue jeans, a blue shirt, a blue windbreaker, and carried a blue knapsack with her. If you have any information regarding Jesse's disappearance, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit North in Bangor at 207-973-3750. Next, Roderick Hotham, missing since 1992. According to the Maine State Police, Rod Hotham was residing in Vesey when he disappeared in September of 1992. He was a certified public accountant and was formally charged with federal crimes in November of that same year. If you have any information regarding Roderick Hotham's disappearance, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit North in Bangor at 207-973-3750. And now, Michelle Jakaitis, missing since 1987. On January 16, 1987, authorities in Massachusetts received a report that Michelle Jakaitis had gone missing. The last confirmed sighting of her was on December 31, 1986, in Dixfield, Maine. If you have any information regarding Michelle, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit South in Gray, Maine at 207-657-3030. Next, Fay Johnson, missing since 2012. Fay Johnson was last spotted on March 12, 2012, in the Lewiston, Auburn, Maine region, and she also has connections to Bethel. Due to her ongoing medical and mental health issues, Fay urgently requires her prescribed medications. She also wears a medical alert necklace indicating she has a pacemaker. If you have any information on Fay Johnson, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crime Unit South in Gray, Maine at 207-657-3030. Next up, Kay Johnson, missing since 1986. Kay Myers Johnson, born on May 20, 1906, was 80 years old when she disappeared from her residence in Monson. Her disappearance occurred sometime between noon on August 23, 1986, and 4 p.m. on August 24, 1986. Ms. Johnson had trouble walking, and her vision was impaired. Despite the efforts of the police, no sign of her could be found during the search. If you have any information about the disappearance of Kay Myers Johnson, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit North in Bangor at 207-973-3750. Next, Sebastian Kelley, missing since 2017. On July 17, 2017, Sebastian Kelley went missing in Westbrook, Maine. He was a transient, having no permanent residence, and had been attacked prior to his disappearance. Descriptions of him state that he is a light-skinned African-American male, standing at 5 foot 11 inches tall and weighing about 190 pounds. His hair is black and his eyes are brown. On his neck, he has a tattoo that reads Willow Grace. Despite ongoing investigations, his whereabouts remain unknown. If you have any information on Sebastian Kelley, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit South in Gray, Maine at 207-624-7076. Next, Stanley Kennard, missing since 1987. In 1987, Stanley Kennard left his home in Madison and took a temporary job in southern Maine. His mother contacted the Madison Police Department after not hearing from him for over a year. The state police also joined the investigation in 1997 to help find Stanley. If you have any information regarding Stanley Kennard, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit Central in Augusta, Maine. Telephone 207-624-7143. Next, Marilyn Lynn, missing since 2002. According to records, Marilyn Lynn resided with her spouse in the town of Eastport, Maine. A family member reported seeing her in the summer of 2002. However, after thorough investigation, no other known addresses or evidence of her whereabouts have been found. If you know the whereabouts of Marilyn Lynn or any information regarding her disappearance, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit North in Bangor at 207-973-3750. Next up, Philip Letarte, missing since 1986. Philip Letarte, 65 years old, departed from Robert Erickson's residence on Tibbetts Road in Woodland, Maine, at approximately 3 p.m. on June 2, 1986. He told Erickson he was walking to Gary's Exxon in New Sweden, Maine, to purchase cigarettes, a distance of about 3.5 miles. On June 3rd, a man resembling Letarte was spotted standing on Colby Road. Since then, there have been no sightings of Philip Letarte. If you have any information, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit North in Bangor at 207-973-3750. Next, Michael Medore, missing since 1996. The town of Milo, Maine, hasn't seen Michael Medore since April 6, 1996. Despite extensive investigations, no evidence has been found to suggest that he may be residing at another address or location. If you have any information regarding Michael Medore's current whereabouts or disappearance, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit North in Bangor at 207-973-3750. Next, Shirley Moon-Atwood, missing since 2006. In the summer of 2006, Shirley Moon-Atwood resided with her spouse, Shannon Atwood, at 534 Heartland Road in Canaan, Maine. That same month, a missing persons investigation was launched by the state police to determine the whereabouts of Cheryl Murdoch, who had recently moved in with Shannon Atwood at the same address. Tragically, Cheryl's body was discovered in August of 2006. As the investigation continued, efforts were made to find Shirley Moon-Atwood. Ultimately, Shannon Atwood was charged and tried for both murders. However, prior to the trial proceedings, the murder charge against Shirley was dropped without prejudice. Although Shannon Atwood was convicted for Cheryl's murder, extensive searches have yet to uncover any trace of Shirley Moon-Atwood. If you have any information regarding the whereabouts or disappearance of Shirley Moon-Atwood, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit Central in Augusta, Maine at 207-624-7143. And now, Kimberly Moreau, missing since 1986. Kimberly Moreau, who was 17 at the time, disappeared on May 9, 1986, from Jay, Maine, where she had been seen with someone she had met earlier that day. Despite extensive searches in the surrounding area, she has not been found, and there are suspicions of foul play involved. If you have any information regarding Kimberly Moreau, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit South in Gray, Maine, at 207-657-3030. Next, Kurt Newton, missing since 1975. On August 31, 1975, 4-year-old Kurt Newton went missing from a campground in Chain of Ponds, Maine, located near the Canadian border in northern Franklin County. He had been on a camping trip with his family at the time. Despite a thorough search by both civilians and law enforcement, he was never located. If you have information on Kurt or his current whereabouts, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit South in Gray, Maine at 207-657-3030. And now, Virginia Pictou Noyes, missing since 1993. On April 27, 1993, Virginia Pictou Noyes and her husband, Larry Noyes, accompanied by 2 others, traveled to Bangor. After consuming a large amount of alcohol, Larry physically assaulted Virginia. He was arrested for domestic assault, and Virginia was taken to EMMC for treatment. Despite repeatedly telling the police that she needed to get back home to her 5 children in Easton, Virginia left the hospital before completing her checkup. Larry eventually posted bail and was released. It is believed that Virginia received a ride to a truck stop in Hotham, as witnesses reported seeing her using the telephone there. The last confirmed sighting of her was walking north through the parking lot of the truck stop. If you have any information regarding Virginia's disappearance, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit North in Bangor at 207-973-3750. Next up, Isla Reynolds, missing since 2011. On December 17, 2011, Justin DiPietro reported his daughter, Isla Reynolds, date of birth 4/4/2010, missing from their Violet Avenue residence. After thorough investigation, authorities have eliminated any chance of Isla leaving the house of her own or being taken by someone. However, during their search, blood belonging to Isla was found in the basement of her home, and the 3 adults present at the time are not being fully cooperative with their information. Authorities strongly suspect that Isla may be deceased. If you have any information on Isla Reynolds, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit Central in Augusta, Maine, 207-624-7143. Next, Bernard Bunny Ross. Fort Kent, Maine resident Bernard Bunny Ross went missing on May 12, 1977, after being suspected of stealing a vehicle in Presque Isle. The last confirmed sighting of him was on the Realty Road near the Ashland Portage town line. Despite extensive searches, he was never found. If you have information regarding Bernard Bunny Ross, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit North in Bangor at 207-973-3750. Now we have Pauline Rourke, missing since 1976. On December 15, 1976, Pauline Rourke was reported as missing. She shared a mobile home with Albert P. Cochran, and her daughter was the last person to see her. According to her daughter, she overheard an argument between Rourke and Cochran on the night before Rourke went missing. She was supposed to be interviewed by state police investigators as a potential witness in the Janet Baxter homicide case against Cochran. Cochran was found guilty of Baxter's murder in 1998, but claims he had no involvement in Pauline Rourke's disappearance. To this day, no trace of Rourke has been found. If you have any information concerning the disappearance of Pauline Rourke, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit Central in Augusta, Maine at 207-624-7143. Next, Atan Shah. Originally from Indonesia, Atan had been living in Washburn, Maine with her family since early 2020. In late 2021, she was residing with her husband and 4 children. However, near the end of that same year, Atan was reported missing to the Washburn Police Department. The Maine State Police joined the investigation in early 2023, but were unable to uncover any new addresses or evidence of her whereabouts outside of Washburn. If you have any information regarding Atan Shah, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit North in Halton, Maine at 207-532-5400. Next, Harold Simpson, missing since 1986. On August 16, 1986, 28-year-old Harold Simpson disappeared from the town of Livermore Falls. He is described as being approximately 5 foot 9 inches tall and weighing around 190 pounds. He has red hair and green eyes. If you have any information regarding Harold Simpson, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit South in Gray, Maine at 207-624-7076. Next, Stephen Thompson, missing since 1986. Stephen Thompson was employed as a manager at Schwann's in Oakland, Maine. On the morning of June 2, 1986, he arrived at work with his wife Beverly dropping him off. His co-workers saw him working that morning, but after that, they were unable to reach or find him. The Oakland Police Department was called in to investigate, and then in 1993, the Maine State Police also joined the investigation. If you have any information regarding the disappearance or whereabouts of Stephen Thompson, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit Central in Augusta, Maine, 207-624-7143. 7143. And lastly, Angelo Angel Torres, missing since 1999. Angel, who also sometimes went with the name of Tony, was officially reported as missing by his family on May 24, 1999. He was last seen in the Saco, Bedford, OOB area, and authorities suspect foul play in his disappearance. On what would have been Angel's 38th birthday, April 1, 2016, the Torres family received a generous donation that doubled the reward for information of his whereabouts from $5,000 to $10,000. As of Saturday, May 21, 2016, the 17th anniversary of Angel's disappearance, the reward has been further increased to $15,000. If you have any information regarding the disappearance or whereabouts of Angel Torres, please contact the Maine State Police Major Crimes Unit South in Gray, Maine at 207-657-3030. Do you possess any information regarding the individuals I've talked about? Even the tiniest clue could make a significant impact in the search. According to the Maine State Police official website, the goal of the major crime units are to locate these missing individuals and pursue justice against those who caused their disappearance or death through criminal means. The Maine State Police often utilize their Facebook page to bring attention to missing person cases, hoping to gather any helpful information or leads from the public. In some cases, a reward has been offered for any valuable information that could help find the missing person, uncover their remains, or identify those involved in the disappearance. If you have any knowledge that could assist in locating these individuals, please reach out to the Maine State Police at the numbers provided. These missing person cases in Maine represent a poignant reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring power of hope. While the search for answers continues, the families and friends of those who have vanished hold on to the belief that they will one day be reunited with their loved ones. As we've explored these cases, we're left with a profound sense of empathy for the families and a renewed appreciation for the tireless efforts of those who work to bring closure to these unsolved mysteries. Well, folks, there you have it. What do you think of these strange, unsolved disappearances from the state of Maine? I look forward to your responses in the comments, but please be friendly and respectful. Until we meet again, be good to each other and stay safe out there. As for me, I'll see you a little further on down the trail. I'm Steve Stockton, and I'll talk to you next time. And please, tell your animals I said hi.